Some houses are different. When you walk in, you hold your breath, not because it's dusty or cold, but because something knows you're there, and that something isn't just darkness. The chill of the night sliced through the silence. At the edge of town, hidden from sight, stood a decaying house, abandoned, rotting. Its roof was caved in, its windows webbed with time, its door untouched for decades. Until that night, that old door creaked open, on its own, for the first time in 20 years. And Jennifer was finally coming home. 3 buses, 2 taxis, and a steep hill later, there it was. The house where her mother died. The night that stole everything from her at the age of 10. The night of the fire. The night no one dared to explain. She didn't come back to confront the past. She came because she had no choice. Her father's last inheritance. That cursed house. The townsfolk still whispered. She burned it down herself. No, it was the girl. I heard a scream that night. No one who enters that place ever leaves the same. Jennifer tried to shut out their voices, but as she stood in front of the house, something inside her whispered, "Leave." Her hands trembled as she reached for the key, not from the cold, but instinct. The rusted hinges moaned, and with the door came a scent, burnt wood, mold, and something forgotten. The moment she stepped into the living room, silence crushed time. It felt like the walls were breathing. The cracks in the paint didn't speak of age, but of something still alive or waiting. She didn't want to confront the past, but the past hadn't forgotten her. That first night, she woke to a sound from the basement. Tap, tap. At first, she blamed the wind. Then again, closer, human, tap, tap, tap. Grabbing her flashlight, she moved toward the basement door. Every step pulled old memories from the shadows. Her mother's frantic voice, her father's quiet rage. The scream. The basement door groaned open. The steps were damp. As she placed her foot on the first one, it felt like something beneath her exhaled. The beam of her light revealed nothing, but on the wall, something appeared. A message, written in moisture, as if traced by a trembling finger. "Why did you burn me, Jen?" Her throat tightened. She turned to run, but the door had shut behind her. And now, the whispers, the breaths, were real. The house had let her in, but it wasn't going to let her leave. The next morning, a neighbor passing by the abandoned house stopped in their tracks. In the window, a silhouette of a woman stood motionless. Her hand rested on the glass, her eyes fixed outward. But those eyes, they weren't human. They were looking through this world, into another. Jennifer's return to the town wasn't just a visit. It had awakened secrets long buried, secrets no one dared to speak of. Who really died in that fire all those years ago? And why had everyone blamed Jen? The house began to whisper to her every night. The crack in the wall of her childhood room seemed to breathe, watching her. The mirror in the bathroom didn't reflect Jennifer anymore. It showed her mother. But not before the fire. It showed what came after. As Jen wandered deeper into the house's darkness, she was forced to confront her own. Her mother's screams echoed in her ears, and her mind, it began to crack. But the house wanted something, a confession, an offering, a price. Sometimes, the things we forget are the only things protecting us. And once we remember, it may already be too late. The phone rang. It shouldn't have worked. There was no electricity, no connection, and yet it rang. She picked it up with a trembling hand. Static, and then a voice. Software familiar, distant. You left me there, Jen, in the fire." She dropped the receiver. Her breath came in short, ragged gasps. Her legs gave way, and she collapsed to the floor. Memories bled through the cracks in her mind, like smoke creeping under a door. The screams, the flames, the silence that followed. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones now. They said the lights in the house flickered at night. They said they heard singing, an old lullaby Jennifer's mother used to hum. And sometimes they saw her, Jennifer, standing in the garden, still, pale, watching. But Jennifer wasn't really there anymore. Not fully. The house had swallowed her, memory by memory, guilt by guilt, and what remained wasn't human. There's something the town learned too late. Some houses don't just hold memories, they feed on them. And when the last light in your soul flickers, the house remembers everything. The next morning was gray. Not just the sky, but the air itself felt heavy, like the world was holding its breath. Wind nudged the brittle branches against the broken windows. The shutters moaned. The house sat in silence, like a grave that had forgotten how to mourn. But inside, no one slept anymore. Jennifer had awakened, or something inside her had. Since finding the skeleton in the basement, something fundamental had shifted. She felt hollow, like someone else was walking in her skin. The truth, thick and suffocating, leaked through the cracks like rot from beneath a floorboard. The woman she thought was her mother had been a keeper of a terrible secret. And now, Jennifer walked with the weight of a past that was never hers. But who was she? Who had she really been? That morning she wandered through the village, past her old schoolyard. Children played, their laughter cutting through the fog like sunlight through dust. One little girl clutched her teacher's skirt and pointed. "Teacher, that woman hasn't aged. She looks just like last year." The teacher froze. Her eyes met Jennifer's, then quickly turned away. But the child kept staring. And then she smiled. Back at the house, the past was no longer quiet. Whispers slipped from behind the walls. The old journal, her mother's, sat open on the table, its pages curling like dried leaves. Each sentence was a mirror, each line a wound. "The house didn't burn. It took her in. The other one, the real one, she lived with it. I don't know who Jennifer is anymore." That sentence shook something loose inside her. An image returned, one she had buried long ago. The night of the fire, her mother hadn't run to her. She had run to the other, the girl behind the door, the one screaming, the one who wasn't saved. The cemetery on the edge of town was cloaked in mist. Jennifer walked slowly, her breath visible in the cold air. Her mother's headstone was still there, but the name had been scratched off. No birth date, no death. Only one word remained. "Burden." A voice echoed behind her. "You took her." And we became accomplices in silence. It was Samil, the old man from town who hadn't spoken in decades. His voice was cracked like old wood. "That night, you locked the other one inside." Tears welled in Jennifer's eyes. "I was just a child." He nodded solemnly. "The house doesn't raise children. It consumes them." A voice echoed behind her. "You took her." And we became accomplices in silence. It was Samil, the old man from town who hadn't spoken in decades. His voice was cracked like old wood. "That night, you locked the other one inside." Tears welled in Jennifer's eyes. "I was just a child." He nodded solemnly. "The house doesn't raise children. It consumes them." That night, as darkness fell once more, the house stirred. Its windows bled red light. Not a reflection, no source, just light, without a shadow. Jennifer stepped inside. Every mirror in the house had fogged over, and in each she saw a different memory. Breakfast with her mother, her father's silent dinners, a girl locked behind a door, just like her. Same face, same eyes, but the girl was crying. And then she mouthed the words, "I'm the real Jennifer." Jennifer fell to her knees. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She was silent. Every door in the house flung open. Drawers exploded with letters, photographs, broken toys. The house was breathing, pulsing, alive. She stood up, facing the largest mirror. This time, she didn't see just herself. She saw the truth, all of it, and slowly, she touched the glass. It cracked, but nothing came out. Instead, something went in. The next morning, the townspeople stopped outside the house. There was nothing left, just ashes. And in the center of the ruins, a single charred music box, standing upright. Children played nearby. One knelt down and scratched at the soil. From the earth, he pulled out a tiny necklace and whispered, "This was the real Jennifer's." Jennifer had finally faced the truth, and only by surrendering her past had she broken the curse. The house was gone, but its story remained. A story of sorrow, of betrayal, of sacrifice, and of a quiet, relentless revenge. If you enjoyed this haunting tale, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share it with others. And in the comments, tell us what this story made you feel. Remember, true horror doesn't come from the outside. It lives inside us.